Yo, what's good, y'all? Trayvon Copeland back with another interview. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Respect my nerves. We finna turn up today, y'all. I am very excited because we get to talk directly to Mr. Newton Lilavois. Yeah, y'all know that boy speak French. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Shouts out to Mr. Newton and shouts out to Crescent City Monster. This is an amazing comic. Now, I know a lot of y'all gonna say it might look like Bitterroot, but it's not. It's a completely different story. Same feel, just different, different avenue and completely. And just to give you a brief summary, Crescent City Monsters is a comic book about a neo-noir story about Mr. Jonas, a blues magician who is also a sorcerer. He is deep-seated in the supernatural world of New Orleans. One night, someone in that supernatural world put a bounty out on Jonas, as Jonas tries to figure out who put the bounty on his head and why. The monsters of New Orleans are out to capture him dead or alive. Yo, shouts out. This is an amazing comic. You guys can go purchase it on the dreamtheorycomics.com. It's about 32 issues. But listen, enough of that. Enough of that. And shouts out to Mr. Giancarlo Brunel. But enough of that. Mr. Newton, what's good, brother? How you doing today, man?
What's up, man? How's it going? It's good to
It's
be.
going good, man. It's going good. Go on. Bonjour, comment ça va? Ça passe. Yeah, man. So you originally from Haiti, right?
Yeah. I was born in Haiti. I could trace my bloodline to 1804. That's when Haiti was became independent. That's why I say that. But yeah, born in Haiti. Came here when I was young. I was 5 years old, and I grew up in Brooklyn for a good portion of my adult life. I should say young life.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I'm in the boogie down Bronx.
Bronx, baby. Bronx, Brooklyn, stand up. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Show them that real quick. Crescent City Monsters. Y'all can go get it. Dreamtheory.com. All right. Back to me. All right, let's do this. Let's do this, brother. Okay. So, like, you've been to Haitian. I know y'all love the supernatural. I mean, I think all black people supernatural. Like, this American black people don't really like to admit it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I talked to Mr. Greg Anderson. He loves horror. He loves horror. Like, what really just caught you? What really inspires you to want to just talk about going back to like the 1920s, 30, between 20s and 40. What really encouraged you to just want to do like old school black? I'll ask that question first.
Yeah, so it really just kind of just came to me. It was something like organic because the original story was supposed to take place in modern times.
I'm glad it didn't.
Huh?
I'm glad it didn't.
Well, actually, so this is not a spoiler, but it flips back to normal time. Like the first issue really is like just a kind of intro to the story. It's good. Issue number 2 is gonna be like totally different. but you guys are still gonna like it though. But yeah, the reason I went back into time is because originally the story really starts off in the present, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when I was thinking about the main character, I wanted to kind of put him in a time frame. I wanted to put him in a situation where he loses everything and everything. I mean everything, right? So what I thought of is, all right, I'm gonna even displace him in time, right? So I'm gonna start from like 40, 50 years. Actually, that's like 60 years ago, and then hop back forward. And so I thought, all right, let me go back into time. I'm gonna have him start from a period, back into time. So when he's put into the present, not only does he lose a lot of things, the things that are important in his life, he's also displaced in time. So that makes it even more uncomfortable for him. So,
Right.
explore how he deals with that situation. So while I was doing that, I was trying to figure out the best periods in time to put him in, and I was doing my research. Initially, I was going to do 1950s, but then when I was doing my research, I was like, what better time to put him in than like the civil rights era?
Right.
Because I like history, so I read a lot, and the civil rights era was really like that chaotic time in American history, because you had a lot of, not just the civil rights, but you had a lot of just chaos going on in America with Vietnam. It was crazy. It, like, you think it's crazy now. Back then it was even crazier because you had this big generational gap, and there was so much things happening at that time. I was like, that's a perfect time to put a story, because there was like so much friction in that time period itself. So and that time period is so interesting. So I was like, let me put him there. And I also wanted to, and that was kind of good too, because I wanted to kind of reflect some of the issues that was going on in the 1960s that still are happening now, and kind of reflect that, right?
Right.
Now, you whatever you're saying now, like the let's say Black Lives Matter movements, you have people arguing like, oh, things are not the same, da da da.
Right. That
Right?
bull.
But you can but when you put that same, when you put it in context in 1963, you can't argue about racism and stuff like that. It existed. So
Right.
wanted to kind of like go back and remind people, like, this is not something new. This is something that we've
It's
been,
not a new thing.
yeah,
Right.
that's been around for a while, and that it didn't really appear out of the blue, out of
Right.
the blue. So the frustrations that minorities face in
Right.
terms of over policing isn't something that's like that's been really gone. It's kind of
Can I
historic.
add something to that?
Yeah.
Uh, See, this is my particular understanding when it involves racism, because I understand it's either a sensitive subject for some, or it's like it's too serious of a conversation for people who don't really want to get into that field, and I mean that particular subject. And this is my main reason, because either you're comfortable with the lifestyle that you're living and you don't want to think about something that doesn't really pertain to you. And I say that for everybody across the board. I say that for Black people who have money and don't really care for anybody but themselves, which is understandable. Like you can only take care of yourself. Um, and that's just the ideology of like the average person. But being a Black man, or being a Black woman, being raised around the kind of people I came up around, as a culture, we support each other. We naturally support each other, and we naturally come together. That's just a natural thing of how we do things. But there's a difference between modern day Black people and old school Black people. I don't want to name drop anybody, but you know what I'm talking about. There's a complete difference in just like from when it comes to like the music that's made, and just how Black people in general carry themselves. It's a whole different ballgame. But like I said, I don't want to get too political. But my point I was making was, people say, oh, racism doesn't exist, but yet when you look on TV, all the networks are owned by white people. All the main actors in all the movies and TV shows are all white people. All the main businesses that you're going to do business with are all owned by white people. So how are you going to try to tell me that racism doesn't exist, when the norm is okay with just seeing like a white face own everything, and you just go to you can't have a business of your own. You can't start your own franchise. You just have to live like an average individual and just go about your day just like everybody else. And I'm like, nah, fam. To your point, I remember researching something that in like the 1950s, in the South, if you just count all the southern states, Black people owned at least like 40% of the land. Now that's zero. So, how you gonna try to tell me that racism doesn't exist, when if you want to look at all the statistics and the facts, it clearly shows it does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have some work to do. And it's like you said, it's hard because, it's like, if you're a person who's not black and um, you're not facing these issues, you live in your life day to day, and like
Right.
let's say you're just a regular person and you're not black and but you're a good person. You're not racist or anything, but you live in your day to day. You're not. They don't necessarily. I mean, they don't really, for lack of better words, care about what happens to to some other group, because that's outside of to them, that's outside of their domain. That's like somebody else's problem, or like they don't really have time to deal with that. I mean,
Right.
that's human nature. Everybody, we've got Netflix now, right? So
Right.
that distracts us.
Hold
We
up. We got Kaliwi TV too.
we've got the news always feeding us, and from both sides, from both parties, leaning left or right. They all they do is just tell you what you want to hear. So I mean, and so with that, it's easy just to
Get distracted.
get distracted. But that's what I try to do. What I want to do. I want to make people get focused back. Focus
Right.
back on what they should be thinking about. So if I create a story that somebody who's not black can look at and actually relate to, and actually think about, like, okay, kind of even see it from that perspective, then
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. You know what I mean? To me, that's really powerful. Even though it's not something that's necessarily nonfiction, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, because fiction is a powerful thing. I mean, you have myths, you have stories that are carried from generation to generations.
Mm-hmm.
People are naturally attracted to stories. That's a human nature thing. They like stories. They relate to them. So it's powerful if you can, even if the story, you know, a comic book story. I think it's still a powerful thing where you can help people relate, or show different perspectives. Just keep it out there. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show people who share and people who don't share my views. How I feel, and
Mm-hmm.
get it, they don't get it. If they get it, they get it. But if they don't, they don't. But at least I'm trying to have some kind of impact in that direction.
Right. Well, respects to that. All right. Well, let's go a little into detail. I got to peek at a little bit of the Crescent City monsters, and I I think it's really interesting. I plan on finishing the rest of the volume. Excuse me, the issue. When I get home from work tonight. But I really like Jonas. Jonas is an interesting character. Um, he's a really just kind of just straightforward kind of guy. Don't take no slack from nobody. Very like he's a chill guy, but at the same time, like when his patience get tested, like then he's going to like react. Which like I think in the most case, like he's like a modern day like kind of black dude from that era, even like now. Like most black dudes aren't necessarily confrontational, nor are they rude. They just kind of I don't want to say carefree, but they just kind of
About
go
yeah,
huh?
they just want to go about their business.
They just want to go about their damn business. And yeah, like you have a cop harassing them. He's dropping the N word on them. Like is all this necessary? Like is all this really necessary? And just like I said, I don't want to like linger on the racism thing too much, but there are a handful of situations that happen like that where like a cop is just completely just unnecessary in this sense. And I'm like, why are we even here? And that's even like kind of like what you said, that happens now. And I just think that now it's a little bit better because even though the body cams like I said, I don't want to get like too political in the topic, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, but at least we have body cams now. And I honestly just believe if you have a good lawyer and you know the law, certain situations, even if they do happen like that, there will be consequences. And I just kind of feel like a lot of people are naive to the law. Um, if they knew their rights, they would know, how to respond to certain type of situations but like, like I said, like even if you do know your rights, I'm saying, certain cops, if they just want to be assholes, they'll be assholes. But like I said, like, you know your rights and you got a good lawyer. Okay, yeah, that happened, but you finna get a fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's different elements that play into it compared like to now than back in like the 1950s. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I like Jonas. I like JoJo. I like Ma. Um, so let me get this straight. Somebody put a bounty on this man because he's also a sorcerer. Um, this is crazy. Like, how did you mix in like a blues magician with a sorcerer? Like,
Oh yeah, because originally, so let me start from the beginning. So uh, I wanted to, when I first was trying to pick a project that I was going to do my first comic book about. The plan was always to put it out on the web and then do a Kickstarter, right? So that was like the general plan, and then it's like, all right, now I got to pick a story. So I had a couple of stories that I wanted to choose from. I decided Crescent City Monsters, and so originally I was gonna. I'm Haitian, so I wanted to have the story in Haiti. So, but the reason why I wanted it in Haiti was because I was a big fan of Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead, right? But not not the TV series. I like the TV series, but I was a big fan of the comic book first before even the TV series came out. And really liked the book and the way he did it because it was. We were talking earlier when I was reading the book, it was more like I was like watching a movie instead of
right.
a comic book. So I wanted to kind of like style my comic books like that. Like I wanted you, while you were reading the comic book, to be able to like visually kind of picture yourself in that world. And the way you do that really is you kind of make it a little bit more realistic, more I guess based in reality. Even though you might have powers and stuff, there's something that grounds you to the story. As opposed to superhero stories, there's not. When you read the structure and how it's done, there's a lot to ground you to the real world. You know what I mean? There are things in the story that you can relate to, and say, oh yeah, that's Spider-Man. He lives in New York. Da, da, da. But there's not a lot of things that ground you to the story. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do I want to do a zombie story too. It's funny. I didn't really want to do a zombie story because it's like, man, everybody does a zombie story. It's like million zombie stories. But then I thought about it. I was like, let me do a zombie story that's more tilted towards like where the lore of zombies come from, which is that the Haitian zombie.
Witch doctor,
huh?
like the witch doctor, or like the voodoo people.
Yeah.
Like now they put a spell on the dead bodies and bring them back to life.
Yeah. So I wanted to do that. I wanted my zombies to be like that. I didn't want it to be like the ones that you see on the TV, just like walking slow and just biting people and whatever. So I was like, okay, that's a different spin. And then I was originally going to do in Haiti, but then I said, okay, you know what? The thing was that if I did it in Haiti, and I'm the type of person who I like to do a lot of research. I like to make sure everything's as authentic as possible because, like I said, that's part of to me that's part of grounding the story in reality, right? Making you feel like you're watching a movie or you're watching a TV series. So
Right.
I realized it would take me a lot of time to really do the story, a lot more time than I wanted. So I was like, what's the best place outside of Haiti? And I realized it was New Orleans, and which was great because there's even a historical connection between Haiti and New Orleans because when the Haitian Revolution happened, a lot of people, a lot of the masters, took their slaves with them to New Orleans to escape the Haitian Revolution. So there's even there's that historical connection that the Haitians actually went to New Orleans. So I was like, yo, that's dope. I was like, and then New Orleans has that supernatural allure to it. You know, it's got a lot of all that. They got hoodoo and their version of voodoo. So, um, so I was like, yo, this is great. You know, it's this is a great place to start the story. So, I was like, all right, yeah, it's gonna be in New Orleans. It's gonna be, and then I'm gonna have some zombies. And as I was exploring it, I started getting really excited about the story because there's so much to the lore of New Orleans. Like I wanted to kind of explore it from a different side because a lot of times when you see like TV shows and they're placed in New Orleans and natural stuff, it's a lot of like vampires and werewolves and stuff. But to me, really, it looks like they kind of ignore one of the facets of New Orleans, which is a little bit more the African American.
Right, it's really more the African culture,
Yeah,
related culture that inspired all that stuff, but they don't want to talk about that, right?
yeah. There's like a lot of things in it. So as I was exploring it, I was like, man, I was like, I'm gonna put a little bit more of African American slash Haitian because culture into it. And I wanted to include. And then my ideas started expanding. I was like, let me include some Haitian voodoo loas too because I want to introduce people to the voodoo loas. I was like, because the loas themselves are dope. And I was like, yo, let me do that. And as I started layering, I was like, man, this is cool. And I was looking at New Orleans culture, and I was looking at the Creole culture. I was like, yo. I was like, they got this Creole culture. This is kind of cool because the Creole culture is like a mixture of things. So I'm gonna do this thing where I'm gonna call it like Creole magic, where it's not just like it's a mixture of like African, Native American, European magic. So I was like, then the story is even kind of So I even got more excited because I was like, now I'm not just like limiting myself to just a certain type of like magic. I can bring in some Indian shaman magic into it. I could do some European witchcraft and thing into it, and just kind of mix it and blend it into like a different
universe.
Yeah, different universe. And I was like, and that based on that whole Creole idea, and I like that. So I came up with the term Creole magic that they use, which is a combination of African, Indian, I should say Native American and European culture just mixed up and kind of into this new thing. So that's where that all of that came from. Based just kind of based on the idea that I just wanted to do a zombie story, and then it's just like kind of cascading into all of that.
So question. Jonas's hair, he got like that little
oh yeah.
cut. Is that like supposed to be like who was that supposed to be? That supposed to be Chuck Berry or
Yeah, he so he was it's funny because the artist Giancarlo Bernal, shout out to Gian, that's my boy right there. His artwork is dope, it's amazing. I call him the amazing Giancarlo Bernal because he is, and that's no exaggeration. In fact, that's that's an underwhelming statement. He should be like that dude is like incredible, man.
Right. His graphics are, his visuals, like, listen, I've read a lot of comics. I love the way that he draws, and it's in black and white. That's what makes it so cool, because I'm like, I don't know if I want this to be in color. I think I like this in black and white a lot better.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I go back and forth. I'm like, maybe I should, kind of explore, color, but people love the black and white. They just like, I don't think if I changed it, people get mad. It's like.
And I'm saying, then you would be like Bitterroot. Then you would be like Bitterroot, because Bitterroot, like their colors, like images, is really cool. You're your own thing with the black and white, because it like I think like when you think about that era, it's cool to keep it in black and white because it gives it that feel, like as if like you're actually like back in like your home on those like little ass TVs, little small TVs, eating your family dinner or whatever, and you're watching something in the black and white TV, and it just gives it like a real vibe. Like man, like the graphics that Gene, man.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to get off track, but yeah, the hair. So I sent so Gene was like, he was trying to get he wanted a reference to how Jonas should look, right? So I was, and the thing too is the reason why Jonas is a blues musician is because he's from New Orleans, and I was trying to. In the book, I really want to capture the New Orleans, and New Orleans is known for their music, their food, and
Voodoo.
and food. So I wanted to capture like as much of that as possible. So I wanted to, yeah. So I wanted to make sure that like, hey, you know what? Let me make sure music is part in there too. Um,
Right.
and I chose blues as opposed to jazz because New Orleans really is known for their jazz, but they're also they have they have some known blues musicians, and one of them is what's his name, Buddy Guy.
Mm-hmm.
He came out of New Orleans, but he moved up to Chicago. I was doing a lot of research about blues and jazz and how historically they related to each other. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I went with blues is because just a personal preference because I was in terms of like genre selection. I lean more towards the blues than jazz. So
Yeah.
to be able to like relate and want to still keep excited about a character, I was like, yo, let me make him a blues musician. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so when I did that,
Blues artist. Mine's Miles Davis, or
what's that?
musician. Musician. Mine's is Miles Davis. What about you?
For jazz or blues?
Blues.
Blues, man, I would say I'd say Buddy Guy. That's because I chose that's who I chose for Jonas's inspiration. So like when Gene asked me for a reference, I sent him a picture of Buddy Guy, but when Buddy Guy was young, and so Buddy Guy had how they used to put the gunk on the hair back in the days, and he had this hairstyle that his hair was just kind of like you see how Jonas's it was so it wasn't exactly like that, but you know how artists like take things and then use their artistic expression. So when
Right.
mm, so I sent him a picture of young Buddy Guy, and he had like that hairstyle, and it was pretty much like shaped like that. Not it wasn't exactly like that. Gene kind of like put his own spin on it, and I thought it
Okay.
was a dope spin. I was like, this is this is kind of dope.
Oh,
The way he did the hair, it was unique too because I'd never seen. Yeah, it was something similar to that. It was even a younger picture than that. It was So yeah, that's one of the pictures I saw. It was he was even I think he was even younger than that when the reference I showed Gene. But yeah, it was pretty
mhm.
much his hair was like. So I was like, yo, do that, and so we based his hairstyle off on that.
Mhm.
So that was dope. It was kind of fun too because Gene would ask me like to send him references to to a lot of the characters and how they dress. So
Mhm.
a lot of things you see visually is really purposeful, like the way he dresses and stuff.
Mhm.
Because when I
How
was
he
looking at it,
act,
huh?
how he
He,
sings,
he acts,
to his woman, all that, all those things like mean something. I understand.
yeah,
Okay, so my next question because he's a sorcerer, and sorcerers, they don't necessarily have to say like magicians. They need wands and all this. Wizards and witches, they need to have wands and all this. Sorcerer, no, we don't need to do all that. No. We just we don't, like I said, we don't need to say anything. We just summon what we need. But so question: is he fighting like Lucifer, or is he fighting just like some type of like demonic, cosmic entity that wants to attack him? Because when I read the comics, he got attacked. Him and his girlfriend after that concert, they get attacked by like a bunch of fucking creatures, and he like, yeah, baby, hold on, get behind me. And the boss, she comes up, she like, yo, we finna mess y'all up. We finna mess y'all up. And oh yeah, what's that language he's speaking? Like he spoke like some kind of alien language or so. What was that all about?
Yeah, that's the so what I wanted to do was I wanted to do like so you have a lot of options in terms of how to make a sorcerer or magician use his powers. Usually what you see is like they'll have like some kind of like energy around their hands to indicate that they're using their powers and stuff like that. I wanted to kind of go away from that because, like I said, I really wanted to be as much reality based as possible. So I wanted to avoid, some of the usual things.
Mm,
At the same time, I wanted to show that he was using his powers. So
mm,
I was like, okay, I'm going to do spell casting. But when they spell cast, I'm going to use like fonts or words that you really can't make out. That's
mm.
very foreign. That because because you don't know magic, you don't know what he's saying, but he's saying he's doing the spell cast. So that's why I wanted to represent that he's using his powers. I wanted to at first kind of avoid the glowing hands kind of thing. I love the glowing hands thing. It's dope, but I
Right.
wanted to do
It
something.
looks cool though. Not like no, like listen, I think your comic is very unique because it's different. Like I said, like it's completely different than Bitter Roots because like I like Bitter Roots, not telling like their stuff like if people don't read it, but like I kind of feel like they like the Black Ghostbusters in a good way though. I
Yeah,
just kind
yeah.
of like they did like Black Ghostbusters is the shit. You know what I'm saying? But
I read Bitter Roots. It's really good. I like it. Shout out to David F. Walker, man. He actually gave me a little shout out because he actually read the story Crescent City Monsters and he's a fan of it too. You know,
mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of his stuff. He's doing some good stuff with Bitter Roots. I like it. It's kind of cool because I see how some people put some parallels in the stories because his is I think in the 1920s or 30s.
Right.
His storyline is even further back than mine.
Right. That's what yeah.
Yeah. It's so and it's in one of my favorite places, Harlem. I grew up in not I grew up in Harlem, but I lived in Harlem for like 5 years for a bit. So that was like that's one of my favorite places. So the fact that I was in Harlem in that 1930s time, and with the Harlem Renaissance, that's a dope time period right there.
Right.
Yeah. So Bitter Roots, I like Bitter Roots.
I feel it.
It's a dope concept.
So question. We gotta talk. Cause like I've never seen someone take snakes and make snakes cool. Like, cause I don't like snakes. And I'm actually seeing you this video of all the different snakes that people will finding across the world. I'm going to send that to you just so you can have that in your head at night. Just some long ass snakes, like snake. I think they found a snake that was like over 32 inches, maybe longer than that.
Like
I
those.
don't know. It's disturbing. It's very disturbing. Like it ate a whole human. Like I know anacondas can do that, but nah, like that thing, like another snake ate a whole woman. I think it ate two. Listen, I've never seen nobody make snakes cool. Like I think it's really unique how you don't even see him like moving his hands and just like he can just like solve a problem, like making a demon come out of somebody. Um, Summoning things like or even what I think he does have to talk when he make those like they look like thunderbolts. What are those things in his hand? Like they're like some thunderbolts he got. He finna,
Magic energy bolts.
well, somebody finna get shocked. Don't be by water. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I try to make things as unique as I could, like different things like the snake. With the snakes, there's a connection between him and snakes. There's a voodoo loa called Dambala. He's they call him the sky god too. He's like created the universe, and he's like these two snakes intertwine, and so Jonas has a connection with this Dambala. So that's why he could like he can summon snakes. That's his connection there. So he's like the snake thing is going to even play a little bit more into the story too. I'm not sure if you've seen images of chapter 2 because on my social media sites, if you follow me at Dream Fury Comics, you'll see that the new iteration of Jonas, and you'll see like he's tattooed with like snakes.
Mm.
You know, but yeah,
Question: who's this guy that can transform from a bird into I don't know what the hell he is?
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
actually, because I thought he was a bad guy. Actually,
no,
who's that guy?
he's like Jonas's like right one of Jonas's right. So Jonas has like his family, his whole family like is into magic, and you know they have an ancient bloodline of sorcerers and whatnot.
Hmm.
So it just runs in his family, and along the way they meet these different creatures, and they have like I guess you can say alliances, or they become friends with them. And the crow that you see, or I should say the raven that you see, is his name is Munin, and he's part of Jonas's family really, and he helps protect them. And you know whenever family needs help, he's always there. There's a few supernatural creatures that kind of like help Jonas's family, and one of them is this raven called Munin. Now the backdrop behind Munin is that he's one of Odin's ravens. You know, Odin has two ravens, right?
Hmm.
Um, and he's like he's the last survivor of Ragnarok. He,
Oh wow!
yeah, so like Munin is like all the Norse gods were
Yeah,
killed,
a
and
little bit of Norse mythology in there. Okay,
yeah, so
okay,
Munin is like the last survivor of Ragnarok, and there's this whole backdrop, but he's known Jonas's family for like 200 years.
centuries, right? Like he
Yeah,
knew his great granddaddy,
yeah,
great
yeah.
granddaddy. Like
Yeah.
right.
So and that's who he met. Like Jonas's like great grandfather, and since then he's been hanging out with the Jonas's family. So that's his backstory. So
Right.
he's like a character I kind of just made up. Um, you know, in Norse God, Munin doesn't transform into anything. He's just like a regular raven. But um, it goes back to the whole idea of the whole Creole culture, because I was like, all right, I wanted to mix things up, so I was like, let me add a little bit European history up in here. But
Mm.
so Munin basically, is a little bit of that. So because he's he's definitely not of
This world.
yeah of this world, and he was an interesting character because I was like it's interesting because it's like he's a character off from a different world, and he's put into like a new world basically because he goes from the Norse world of and European world, and he makes his way to North America, and he meets Jonas's great grandfather, and this whole thing. So he's an interesting character himself, having survived Ragnarok. Um,
Right. That'd be an interesting backstory to talk about. Like that.
yeah,
That'd be a real interesting backstory to talk about. Like he seems pretty interesting and stuff. Like I thought he was a bad guy at first, looking at the
nah,
cover
nah.
until you actually read the comics. Like no, Jonas is very unique. He like I think this is a very talented comic. I think it's gonna go far, and I wish you all the success. And I want to read more issues.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think like I said, I like the substance. I like the direction of where you're going. I like the fact that his villains aren't just like stupid, mindless, like monsters. No, they actually have a conscience. It's just like as if you were fighting like any other intelligent person that's trying to kill you. You got to be on your A game and don't let your guard down, or you're gonna get caught slipping.
Yeah.
Um, I like the way that his powers like progress with how you show them displayed. Like shouts out to Gene once again with just like the visuals. Like man, like I know how it is like drawing comics. I used to draw comics myself when I was in high school. after my injury in football, I needed something to do. I'm sorry. Woo! I'm sorry, my allergies. My allergies getting to me. But no, I really enjoy what you're doing. Can one more question? Can you see this being like Can you see this being like an animated movie or something? Like, if you want to make like an animated series down the road, like, could you see this turning into something like that?
People keep asking me, could I see this animated series? Could I see the HBO series? I'm like, yeah, I can see it, on TV and animated.
Yeah, because
Definitely. It's funny because if it was, I'd want the same people behind, who did Afro Samurai.
yeah,
I think the way they set the feel for Afro Samurai was so dope. It was so ill that it's like I was like, yo, when you watch Afro Samurai, it's like because I'm really not an anime person. I really watch anime. Like I only like specific animes. Like I like Cowboy Bebop.
yeah.
I like what do you call it? Avatar, the Airbender. Some people don't consider it anime because it's not from Japan, but I like the Airbender, and then Afro Samurai is one of the.
Black Dynamite, no Black Dynamite up in there, man.
I don't, I'm not like I said, I'm not into anime, so it's like if it's there's only specific ones I've watched, but yeah, Afro Samurai is one of them, and it's one of those. It's one of those shows that has like a particular feel to it. Like when we were talking before, I like dark and gritty stuff. And so like Afro Samurai, man, when you watch it, it's like, oh, yo, this dude is so crazy, so focused. He's like, that's the only kid that, getting that thing is the only thing he cares about, and he's just a killer. So yeah, and just the world, yeah, the world that they build and the characters. So if it was something like that, like if they did, if they could build not that exact world, but able to like that's kind of
the illustrations or like the visual graphics that were in that incorporate
yeah,
that Crescent City
yeah,
monsters.
yeah, and capture
You
that.
like the Boondocks? You never watched the Boondocks?
Now I watched the Boondocks.
Okay, yeah, you like dark things. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like more like a dark kind of thing. I'm not
Okay.
sure why. Maybe that says something about me, but.
All right. So,
uh,
last question, Mr. Newton, um, when can we expect issue 2 to come out? Because I want to read more of this. Like you got me hooked. Like Mr. Greg Anderson, Alyssa, shout him out. Got me hooked with like his different storytelling like methods. I see y'all kind of like two of the same. Cause I see like a little bit of parallel, like similarities between y'all like concept of how y'all do things. When is issue 2 coming out?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Greg. Shout out to Greg, man. Peace. That's my homeboy. Yeah. So, yeah, we're working on issue 2. We're wrapping things up. We only have a few more pages to go. The art. Gene's artwork. Takes some time to do. You've seen how much details he put in. So,
yeah,
things up. We're gonna have the Kickstarter. Start sometime next month. So definitely look out for that. The Kickstarter for number 2. If you don't have, if you haven't, bought number 1, that'll definitely be an option to buy 1 and 2 on the Kickstarter campaign. You already bought number 1, of course, you'll be able to buy number 2. But number two is going to be something else. It's going to be different. That's what I got to tell you. So. Don't expect what you what you saw in issue 1 to thing. I like to kind of just keep things. It's early in the story, so I want to keep things like still organically like growing in people's mind as to what the story really is. Like
right.
They you're gonna think like, oh, this is the story, but oh, there's more to it. And
right.
every issue I want to keep doing that, where like every time you read an issue, you realize like, oh, there's more to the story than I think there is,
Right.
So that's going to be happening for the first, I guess, like 3 or 4 issues. People are going to think like they know the story, but they really don't know the story. So
you kind of got that Jordan Peel feel when you reading something and when you watching something and you think one thing going on, there's a whole different like like if you don't catch it, you got to go back and watch it again. Because I definitely feel like I got to go back and read your issue, the first issue, a couple times just to get a better understanding. But nah, Mr. Lilavois, Lilavois, I'm saying that
Yep,
right.
yep, that's right.
Nah, I like your work, dude. I think Crescent City Monster is gonna be an awesome thing. I can't wait to. Oh, that's another question. Dream Fury Comics, is that your company or that's just somebody you partner with?
That's my company. I set it up. It's like an official actual company. It's under
But
it's
people
the
come under you and like have you print for them or publish for them,
yeah.
like
It's really just for my stories because right now I can't really take on other people's stories. Because it's a lot of work, and I have a regular, 9 to 5. So doing like extra, like I would love to come to the point where I could do, if I see somebody else's story that's dope, and I wanted to help them out, I would love to come to that point. But right now I'm not there. Probably gonna take another like 5 to 10 years before I'm even there. So
I hear you.
so,
Nah. I was just saying, like, I was just giving an example, like, but like, no, I
yeah,
get
yeah,
it, like, because I talk to a lot of different people who work for like Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image. And I talk to a lot of different people, and like one of the most common things they say is, you better off starting your own thing instead of going to like try to get your stuff printed with another company. You better off just doing your own thing because there are a lot more benefits. There are a lot more rewards out of that.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I like doing my own things because I like to stick to my own schedule. I don't because I have a regular 9 to 5. My regular 9 to 5, I have to be responsible, for certain things and to certain people. And I didn't want that to be on when I'm creating comics. I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do. So it's like, so even if like let's say you go with a person like let's say you go under Image, really great company, but you still have to like there'll be deadlines and things you have to do and at a certain time, and you have to deal with certain things that I just want to do everything my way, my own time. I don't, so like that's me. I feel more comfortable with that. So right now where I'm at, that's my thing right there. And plus with Kickstarter now, if you're an indie comic book creator, you can and you want to you can just start a Kickstarter campaign to fund your the printing of your comic book. So it's all there for you as an indie creator. You just gotta know. You have to understand the system and how it works to your benefit. Once you understand how it works and you understand how everything works, because there's a whole system to. Then you can't just start a Kickstarter. You have to kind of learn marketing and things like that. So once you understand that as an indie creator, it's dope. It's a dope time to be an indie creator because you have a lot more opportunities with platforms like Kickstarters and Indiegogo. It's amazing. I wouldn't really have started it. I don't think I would have started comics if hadn't run into Kickstarter and they had a comic book section, and I was like, oh, these people are just like me. They have some of them, a lot of them have regular jobs and do this on the side, and I was like, and fund the printing of the comic book through Kickstarter. I was like, yo, let me do this too.
Right. All right. Man, the questions coming out now. I want to see the crossover so bad. Can we possibly, please, please, please? Well, I want to see a crossover so bad. That'd be so cool to have Jonas meet the family and Bitterroots, the Cullens. Can we pull that off? I want to see that happen. That'd be amazing.
I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting idea. That'd be cool. That'd be really interesting. Yeah, maybe when I have time, I'll reach out to David F. Walker and see what he says.
Like, yo, what's up, baby? You know what I'm saying? I know y'all coming back because I know they done for the year. Or for right now for releasing comics, they don't come back until August when they're gonna start releasing new content. But I reached out to them. Hope I can get an interview with them. But Mr. Newton, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed Crescent City Monsters. I want to see more. Shouts out to Mr. Bernal. I hope to get him on here too. Respect My Nerdz interviews. Listen, your content's dope. You're dope. Please continue to give us more. Respect My Nerdz. Listen, we support you full-heartedly. Trayvon Copeland, I thoroughly enjoyed you, sir. And you have a marvelous day, okay?
All right, Trayvon, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on, man.
Good.
Sure.
Better believe it, baby. All right. Bronx.